Hi, welcome to this easy yin flow. So we're going to start off seated, nice comfortable position. Don't be afraid to sit on a cushion or a brick. For the class, we're going to need, well, you don't necessarily need, but it's nice to have next to you just in case you want to go a little deeper. So the props today are to go deeper into the postures. So you want to have a brick next to you, and a bolster is always handy, or a nice big cushion. So get into a nice comfortable seated position, crossing your legs. Remember it's yin, so we want to try and open as much as possible. Don't be afraid to stack multiple cushions under your body to help your hips open. Bring your hands to your knees. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Close your eyes. Bring your shoulders over your hips, your ears over to your shoulders. And exhale through the nose. Inhale nice and deeply, and exhale nice and slowly. You don't have to fill your lungs to their maximum capacity every time you breathe in. Every once in a while it's good to do so to change over the air. But in yin we're more looking for the length of breath. We want the breath to be as long as possible. We want to slow down our minds and our bodies to bring them into a state of deep relaxation where we can appreciate the world around us, where we can understand what's going on within us. And for that we need to be calm, we need to be relaxed, and we need to be aware. To bring your awareness to your breath. It's important to take a few moments at the beginning of each of your practices just to make sure that you are here in the moment. Because if your mind is distracted, you can't hear what your body is trying to tell you. Or maybe you do hear things but you miss others. And by not being fully present, we're not able to benefit entirely from what it is that we're trying to do, what it is that we're trying to achieve. On your next exhale, gently bow your head slightly forward, as if to look at the ground, and blink your eyes open. We're going to come into our first posture, which is going to be butterfly. So feel free to keep the cushion or brick underneath your bum. This will help tilt your pelvis forward if you tend to round at the base of your spine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with using props. Just because we're doing yoga, just because people on Instagram or on the internet have loads of posts of them doing ridiculously bendy things, and they're not using any help, doesn't mean that we have to do it as well. We're not in the Cirque du Soleil. So, coming into butterfly, if you want to, have a prop underneath your bum, and then bring the soles of your feet together. You can hear I've got a nice cracky ankle today. Bring your heels in as close as you feel comfortable to your groin. Allow your knees to fall open to either side. If your knees are quite high and this gets uncomfortable for you, don't be afraid to pop a brick underneath your thigh. So underneath the thigh, not the knee, just to help support it. If you want to have a support for your head, you can always bring your bolster, place it on your feet so that as you roll down, your head can rest on the bolster. But again, you don't need any of these props. You can do it completely free. So take a nice deep inhale. Allow your hands, your arms to relax at either side. And as you exhale, don't worry about keeping your spine straight. This is not a yang stretch. This is yin. Allow your spine to round, your head to drop down. And depending on which area you're stiffest in, maybe you feel it in your groin, or maybe you feel it more along the outside of your hips, coming into all of those small muscles that make up the joint. And as you drop your head, maybe you even feel it reaching down from the base of your skull all the way down into your spine. Do all of your fidgeting now. And then once you've found your spot, resolve to remain still. With every inhale, feel your lungs expanding and visualize that air pushing into the stretch that you feel. And as you exhale, feel your body sinking just a tiny little bit lower. Gravity gently pulling you down. Sometimes it's easier to feel those micromillimeters that you move when your eyes are closed. Allowing yourself to look inwards. Coming into our last few breaths. Be strong. Try not to whip fiddle. Try not to move. It's always in yin postures that you seem to get an itchy nose. Try to focus on the bigger things that are going on within you. And then on your next inhale, using your hands, gently lift yourself back up. Feel that relief in your hips. Bring your knees together. Take your time. It's really important to relish the stretch and rock your knees from side to side. And straighten out your legs. You can take your cushion away from underneath you now. We're going to come into half saddle. So for those of you who want to do full saddle, you're more than welcome. But it's always nice to start off just doing half and half. So we're going to keep our right leg straight. We're going to bring our left leg behind us so that our left heel is by our left hip. We're looking for a stretch along the front of our leg. So as we exhale, we're going to gently lean back and walk ourselves down to the earth. So you may find that even up here, you're getting enough of a stretch in the front of your leg. You can always bring the weight more onto the heel if you want a bit more of a stretch down the front. So you can keep the heel out to the side, but for some people this is often uncomfortable in the hip. So shift your body weight around, check that your knee is safe, that your knee is okay. This is very intense on the knees. And then lower yourself down as far as you need to. So you can come onto your forearms. You can see your knee will naturally start to lift up. Don't worry about it. Your knee is normally going to lift up. It doesn't have to stay flat on the ground. Or you can come all the way down to the floor, reach behind with your arms. If the floor is too far away, don't be afraid to lie on a bolster. Makes the whole posture much more pleasant. And you can place your hands where they feel comfortable. Take a nice deep inhale in. And exhale out slowly. Feel that wonderful stretch all the way down the front of your hip, down your thigh, towards your knee. If the pressure in your knee becomes too much, don't be afraid to lift yourself up again or to come out of this posture. If you know another hip flexor stretch that you would prefer to do, then feel free to do that if this is very uncomfortable for you. Remember that not every posture in yoga is made for everybody. We all have different bodies, and therefore we all have postures that we're really good at and those that we're not good at all. Which is also why it's good to try different teachers, because we all have postures that we avoid. I know I have quite a few that I avoid just because I'm so terrible at them. As you continue to exhale and inhale nice and slowly, feel your body beginning to relax. We're going to do a few more breaths here, not that much longer. And then on your next inhale, using your hands, your arms, gently, slowly lift yourself back up. Roll slightly to the right to release that pressure on your foot, and you can straighten the left leg. Ooh, you can feel that sensitivity. Wiggle your legs, your knees, your ankles. And now we're going to keep the left leg straight. We're going to bring the right foot behind us, so right heel next to the right hip, or if it's more comfortable for you, you can sit on the heel. However, do remember that puts more pressure on the ankle. It's quite nice to have the heel on the outside. And that is the usual saddle. And then when you're ready, as you exhale, gently start to lower yourself down. Don't be surprised if this side is different, if it's not as easy to go down low. It's okay to have two sides that are different, and it's, in fact, it's very normal to have one side more flexible than the other. So if you need to, stack up extra cushions or come straight down to the floor, depending on how you feel. Eventually, you'll be able to do this with both knees bent and your head and back flat on the floor. You can feel we're getting a lovely arch in the lower spine as well, so we are coming into a back bend. It's a nice gentle one when you do half saddle. Again, explore that stretch you're feeling. Maybe you can feel in the left leg that it's still recovering from stretching out. You can feel that you've stimulated lots of cells in that leg, but you're now doing the same too on your right side. It's much easier to stay still in reclining postures. Feels much more natural because we do it for about 8 hours every evening. And if you do it for less than that, that's impressive, but maybe you need to take an afternoon nap every now and again. Focus on those long inhales and exhales. Maybe you can hear the sound of your heart beating. Notice how it slows down when you exhale. Coming into our last few breaths. Don't speed up your breathing just because I said the last few. Keep them slow and steady. And then on your next inhale, using your hands, your forearms, gently, ever so gently, start to lift yourself up. If lifting yourself up is uncomfortable, you can roll straight onto the left side to release your legs, straighten it out. Ooh, feel how nice that is. Maybe have a nice little round in your spine, hug your knees, work out that back bend. Maybe you enjoy the back bends. And then on your next inhale, come forward onto your hands and knees. Open your knees up slightly wider than your hips, or you can have them together. Play with the distance. Toes together, bring your bum down to your heels. Slide your hands forward and come into extended child's pose. We're not going to be here long, but we did just do a back bend, so we're just going to allow the lower back to lengthen. The legs to rest. And then on your next inhale, gently come forward. Straighten your legs out behind you, bring your belly down to the earth. We're going to come into Sphinx pose. So, depending again on the intensity you want in your lower back, this is the lower back stimulation. So unlike Cobra, we're not engaging the muscles. If you have a sensitive lower back and just lying flat on the mat is enough pressure there for you and is intense enough for you, then this is still a back bend, so you can just lie flat on the mat. You can have your arms straight out in front of you, forehead on the mat. If you do want a more intense sensation in the lower back to help stimulate those bones, then come up onto your forearms. Forearms relatively parallel to each other, elbows under shoulders. You can allow your shoulders to relax so your body sinks down and either look straight ahead, or if it's comfortable for your neck, you can release your neck and get that wonderful stretch down your spine again. The Sphinx. Make sure that your bone cheeks are relaxed. Your hips are sinking down into the earth. If being on your forearms is too much and you're somewhere between being flat and on your forearms, bring your bolster under your armpits and then rest on your bolster. Bring your arms in front, and again you can relax your head. If being on your forearms isn't intense enough and you need to go higher, then rest your forearms on your bolster and come up even further. So pick the one that works for you. Do all your fidgeting before, and then once you're comfortable, allow your body to relax, to sink down Enjoy the stretch. Sphinx is wonderful because the pressure that we put in our lower back is stimulating our bones. It's encouraging all the cells in our vertebra to reinforce themselves. So we're asking our bones to actually grow stronger. So although there's no evidence to suggest that we can regain bone density, there is evidence to suggest that we can make what bone density we have much, much stronger just by stimulating the bones, by applying gentle and regular pressure to them. The lower back area can often be a problem area for many people. So never overstimulate this area. You want to feel a gentle pressure, and you should know when that pressure becomes too much. If it's uncomfortable, if it's painful, that's a sign that you need to come out of this posture, or you need to at least lower yourself down so the arch in your spine is not as intense. Pain has absolutely no place in yoga. The moment you feel pain, burning, tingling, that's a sign that you need to move out of whatever you're doing. Give your body rest and check in with all of your joints and your muscles to make sure that you're not injuring yourself. Coming into our last few breaths. Maybe your shoulders are starting to get a little tired. If they do, remember you can always rest on a bolster or a cushion under your armpits. And then on your next inhale, gently start to walk yourself back. Come out of that back bend, groan. That's perfectly normal in yin. And gently walk yourself back, coming into your child's pose. That's yummy. Feel your bum moving down to your hips. Feel your lower back straightening out. Bring your hands to where they feel comfortable. They don't have to stay in front. You can bring them behind, maybe between your legs. Maybe you can pop them under your forehead. Do what works for you and enjoy feeling your back lengthen again. And then on your next inhale, using your hands, gently start to lift and roll your spine up slowly. One vertebra at a time. Come and sit on your heels. And then as you exhale, drop your hips to one side, bring your legs out in front of you. Come back to the center of the mat, and we're going to come into half shoelace. It's going to be our second to last posture. So we'll start off by keeping the left leg nice and straight. If you're comfortable doing full shoelace, by all means go for it. Bend the right knee, and then bring the right foot over to the left side, your right heel coming to your left hip, so that you're trying to bring your two knees one on top of the other. So if I can show you from the front, you'll only see my toe. I'm trying to bring my right knee so that's directly over the left. If they don't come directly over each other, that's fine as well. It really depends on how much muscle and how your hips are developed. So if you've got lots of muscle on the inside of your legs, then it will be really hard to bring them straight on top of the other, and then also depending on hip formation. But the idea is to try and get them one on top of the other. So, knees over each other, right heel towards left hip. And we're looking for a stretch on the outer thighs. So you might feel it on your outer right thigh, some people feel it on the outer left thigh, and then also because we're going to do a forward fold, you might get a wonderful stretch in the hamstring. It really depends. Primarily though, we're looking for a stretch on the outer right hip. So as you exhale, gently walk yourself forward, coming down towards the floor. Allow your body to relax, your head to fall down. And if it's more comfortable for you, don't be afraid to rest your arms, your head on your knee. Do what's right for you. Nice deep breaths in. Nice long breaths out. Notice how your body begins to relax. Maybe everything starts to fall to the earth. If you drop your head down, maybe you get that wonderful stretch reaching down your back again. Remember, all of our muscles are formed slightly differently to our neighbour. So you may not feel the stretch in the same place that I feel it. But if you feel the stretch and it feels good, then you're doing it right. And then on your next inhale, when you're ready, gently lift yourself up. Untwist your right leg, straighten it out. Shake your knees if you want to. You can do windshield wipers if you feel it's necessary. If you want to stay longer in the position, don't be afraid to do so. You can always pause the video. And then bring your left heel to your right hip. Left knee over right knee. Feel your muscles starting to fix themselves, coming into that posture. And when you're ready, exhale, fold forward. Maybe it's more intense on this side. Certainly feels more intense for me. Maybe it's easier on this side. Allow your body to relax. You don't have to be resting on your knee. You don't have to touch your knee. You don't even have to lean forward if you feel the stretch already. Just remember that as long as you feel a stretch, that is what is important. Feeling a stretch and then staying still, allowing your body to work through that stretch in its own time. And when you stay still, you'll begin to notice how you can feel all those little kinks, those little knots unwinding themselves as you gradually sink lower and lower down to the earth. Coming into our last few breaths. Relish these last moments, enjoy them. And remember, you can always stay longer if you need to. And then on your next inhale, gently lift yourself up. Uncross your legs. Bend your knees, bring your hands behind your back, and we are going to do windshield wipers just to loosen out the hips. Rock your knees from side to side, twist your body, allow your hips to move with your knees. And then come back to center and gently roll yourself down onto the earth. Bring your knees into your body, hug them and rock from side to side in a little ball. And then exhale, open your arms up into a cross, drop your feet down to the earth, and then drop your knees to the right. Looking at your left hand, you can bring your knees higher if you want to. Nice gentle twist. Maybe close your eyes. Concentrate on feeling all the muscles releasing, relaxing. Inhale to come center, and exhale, drop to the left, looking at your right hand. Again, don't be afraid to raise your knees higher if you want a more intense twist. Inhale, come back to center. Grab your knees, hug them one last time, rocking from side to side. And then exhale, straighten your legs. Allow your toes to flop to either side. Make sure you're comfortable. Make sure you're warm. Don't be afraid to cover yourself with a blanket. Arms down by your sides, palms facing the sky. Scan your body from head to toe. Make sure that everything is relaxed. Nothing is contracting. And take a nice deep inhale in through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. Become still. Explore your body, how it feels, what you've done. Do you feel more in touch with your physical self? Allow your awareness to focus within your third eye. And to feel that connection between yourself and the world around you. Allow your breath to lengthen. Start to become aware of the world outside. The gentle rumblings of life outside of this little sphere. Perhaps you can hear people. Perhaps you can hear cars. Or maybe it's the birds in the trees. The rain on the earth. The wind. The ocean. Or maybe it's just the wonderful silence that fills the spaces between. Start to wiggle your fingers, your toes. And then on an exhale, roll onto one side of your body, supporting your head with your lower hand. Pause here for a moment. And then on your inhale, gently lift yourself back up into your comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to your knees, keeping your eyes closed. Bring your shoulders over your hips, your ears over your shoulders. Inhale to lengthen your spine. And exhale slowly. Bring your hands to your heart center and then to your forehead. Bow down to the earth in front of you, thanking it for all that it gives us. As you inhale, lift up, blink your eyes open. Namaste. I hope you feel lovely and relaxed after your yin session, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.